Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm feeling a little bit festive. That's why I'm wearing green and red and white, and I have my festive cup. So yeah, I'm definitely feeling all the December vibes. But before we get started with that, we have to do our November wrap-up, of course. So let's get started. So the first book I read this month was Icebreaker, and I know it's a very popular TikTok book. The second book in the series just came out. Well, not just, I think it came out in October, if I'm not mistaken. Icebreaker is a sports romance between an ice skater and a hockey player. It has enemies to lovers, forced proximity, so those are all tropes I love, so I expected to love this book. So Anastasia is a figure skater and Nate is a hockey player. They go to the same university, and the university has two ice rinks, one for the hockey team and one for the ice skating team. But the hockey team got vandalized, so now the hockey players and the ice skaters are being forced to share one single rink. It starts up a rivalry between both teams. Yeah, the story takes off from there. So let me tell you, I never DNF books, like ever. But this book was my first DNF ever. So I liked Nate. Nate was not the problem here. He's really sweet, he's really caring, he's a good male main character. My problem was with Anastasia. She really got on my nerves constantly. Like, the enemies to lovers in this book felt a little bit forced. Not a little bit, very forced. It was basically just Anastasia being petty and taking it out on Nate. So it's not really a good enemies to lovers in my opinion. Like, I'm used to, you know, the fantasy enemies to lovers, the knife to the throat enemies to lovers. So just her being petty about the ice rink situation was not doing it for me. Also, it felt like the book kept restarting every few pages. It would sort something out and then just as quickly we go back to the beginning. So like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back type of thing. I don't like that. And I gave it a few more pages. Like, I think I got to 150 pages in the book, about 30%. This is a very long book. Like, first of all, romances, in my opinion, shouldn't be that long. But yeah, I gave it about 150 pages. I really tried to give it a chance because I was really liking Nate. But Anastasia just... So I don't think I would be able to put up with her for 300 and something pages more. So I DNF'd the book, and that's that. And I know Wildfire is a standalone. I will be reading that at some point, but Icebreaker, just not for me. So after Icebreaker, I wanted something that I knew I would love. And one of my favorite series of all time is the Shatter Me series. And I had been putting off the last book, Imagine Me, for months because I just didn't want the series to end. I decided to pick Imagine Me up. This whole series is basically a dystopian world. It has a love triangle, found family, enemies to lovers, a strong female main character, and a morally gray male main character who I love. But yeah, like I said, this is the 6th book in the series, so I will not be giving you a summary about this book because I would spoil the whole series for you. But I will give you a summary about the first book, which is Shatter Me. It takes place in a futuristic world that has been suffering from everything humans have done, climate change and everything. Like the weather is really gloomy and the birds don't fly anymore. It's just how our world would look if we continue the way we've been doing. And also a 17-year-old named Juliet Ferrers has a lethal touch, literally, and no one really knows why, but she's seen as a very dangerous person, so they lock her up in an asylum to prevent her from killing people. Also, the world has created a new type of government called the Reestablishment. They are the ones who locked Juliet up until one day they recognize that she might actually be a powerful weapon that they could use. So the story takes off from there. Like I said, this is one of my favorite series of all time. It's really fast-paced. Characters are really easy to fall in love with. The first book is just written in Juliet's point of view, but if you keep going with the series, more characters have points of views. One of them is Kenji, and this book specifically is dual point of view between Kenji and Juliet. And I really love Kenji, so I really loved having Kenji's point of view. This book played with my emotions the whole time. I can say that for the whole series, but this book in particular really played with my emotions. I somehow managed to avoid spoilers. Like, this series is very popular. A lot of people love it, especially on Book Talk or Bookstagram or BookTube. So I don't know how I managed to avoid spoilers for this book, especially because, you know, do you do this? Like, every time I finish a book, I just go like on Book Talk or whatever, and I start like looking for people's reviews on the book. So I had done that for the previous 5 books and novellas and whatnot. So I don't know how I managed to skip spoilers for the 6th book, but I did. So I was caught off guard with all the twists and turns and everything, and I loved it. I love these characters so much. I love this world so much. I gave this book a 4.5 stars. Even though not all of the books in the series are a 5-star, the series as a whole is a 5-star for me. Throughout the month, whenever I felt myself getting into a slump or book hangover or whatever, I picked up one of the volumes of Heartstopper. Heartstopper is a graphic novel, and there are 4 volumes out right now, and the 5th one is coming out this month, December. So I'm very excited for that. It's a contemporary romance. It's a friends to lovers, forced proximity. It's about this 10th grader named Charlie, and basically one day he's forced to sit next to Nick, who's an 11th grader. He's a year older. They quickly become friends, and Charlie starts to develop this little crush on Nick, but he doesn't think he likes him back. The story takes off from there. It's very cute, very cozy, very heartwarming. I love how the author talks about serious topics throughout these series, but she manages to still keep the tone of the book lighthearted and heartwarming and everything. I just love cute little graphic novels like this, and I know there's a series on Netflix and I wanted to watch that, but I decided to read the graphic novels first, and I'm glad I did. So yeah, I read all 4 volumes that are out right now during this month, and I'll probably read the final one in December. I rated volume 1 a 5 stars, volume 2 a 4 stars, volume 3 a 4.5 stars, and volume 4 a 4 stars. But just like Shatter Me, the whole series is a 5-star for me. Moving on, I decided to pick up My Fault. This is a dark romance, enemies to lovers, forced proximity, forbidden love, and it's dual point of view. It's basically about Noah, and Noah's mom went on a vacation, you know, she took a cruise, and she came back with a rich husband and plans to move to a new country, as one does, of course. So Noah, I was gonna say Nova. I'm reading Renegades right now. I know I promised last month that I would include it during this wrap up, but I didn't finish it. I'm like 60-something% through with it, so I'll finish it in December. I'm reading it, okay? I'm reading it. But yeah, the main character in that book is Nova, and the main character in this book is Noah, so I'm sorry. So Noah is obviously devastated about the news. She's about to start her senior year in high school, and she's being forced to leave her friends, her boyfriend, her volleyball team behind, just to move to a new country because her mom got married on a whim. Also, her new stepfather has a son that she's never met before. She's gonna meet him for the first time after moving into the new house in California, so, you know, crazy. The worst part is that the first time she meets him, she's not in the best mood, of course. Things go down from there. The premise of this book is really good. It's actually, there's a movie out on Prime Video, I think. I actually watched the movie before reading the book. That's why I went into this book with such high expectations, because I really liked the movie. Those expectations were not met. Basically, I was not a fan of the writing style, and also there's a lot of scenes in the movie that I really enjoyed that are not in the book. The movie is way more fast-paced. I feel like this book drags some things out that shouldn't be dragged out. The story is way more cohesive in the movie than the book. So if you're interested in the plot of this book, just go watch the movie, skip the book. I actually gave this book a 1 star. Moving on, Iron Flame came out, and if you don't know what Iron Flame is, it's the sequel to Fourth Wing. And if you don't know what Fourth Wing is, what are you doing? Like, it's all over TikTok, all over Instagram. Everyone has gone crazy about this series. It's a fantasy romance. It has enemies to lovers, love triangle. It has dragons. The best part of the book, found family, and it takes place in a war college. So Violet Sorengale has been studying her whole life to basically join the Scribe Quadrant in Basquiat? I don't know. Do not ask me to pronounce any of these names correctly. But yeah, she has been studying her whole life to become a scribe, and one day her mom tells her she's not actually gonna be doing that. She's gonna be joining the deadly writers quadrant. So Violet is not ready for that. But you know, her mom is actually the general, so it's not like she has an option. So she has to go there. She has been training for it the past few months since she found out, but she's undertrained, unprepared, and she's actually very weak in nature, just generally. So yeah. By the way, that was the plot for Fourth Wing. I'm not giving you the plot for the second book, for obvious reasons. I don't want to spoil the first book for you. I think I actually liked Iron Flame more than Fourth Wing. It's actually the longest book I have ever read. It doesn't seem that long because it's only like 600 and something pages. But if you check the font size, it's actually tiny. And if you check the word count, it should be a 900 and something page book. Probably the size of Crescent City or something. It actually has more words than Crescent City. It's a pretty thick book. And still, I did not want it to end while I was reading it. It's definitely more politics heavy than Fourth Wing was, but I enjoy that. Violet is a total badass. Zayden is everything, and the grumpy dragons, they have my whole heart. If you haven't checked the series out, I highly recommend. I gave the first book a 5 stars, and this book is gonna be a 6-star read for me. Like, it broke the scale. I know there's no 6 stars, but it like broke the scale. I keep thinking about these characters constantly. Also, the ending of Fourth Wing was unhinged. The ending of this book is also unhinged. I don't know where we're gonna go from here, but I'm excited. Can't wait for the 3rd book to come out. And finally, I decided to pick up another highly rated book on Book Talk, Powerless. It's another fantasy romance. It has rivals to lovers, forbidden love, love triangle, forced proximity. It's a slow burn with so much tension, and it's a dual point of view. So years ago, a plague attacked the kingdom, killing many civilians in the process. However, those who survived developed superpowers, and they're called the elites now. But those who are born ordinary are just that, ordinaries. So the king decided to banish the ordinaries with the excuse that they were carrying a disease that would weaken the abilities of the elites. Nowadays, if an ordinary is caught living within the elite society, they're basically killed by the future enforcer, who is also the king's son, Prince Kai. So our main character, Payton, she's an ordinary, and she was trained by her father on how to pretend to be an elite. So her father trained her to be like very observant and very aware of people and her surroundings and whatnot, and to form like connections that would allow her to appear to be a psychic. She has mastered that throughout her life, so that's how she's been able to survive. She lives in the slums, and she tries every day just to like blend in. That quickly changes when she's selected to participate in the purging trials, which are these very like Hunger Games-esque trials that are meant to showcase the elite's superpowers, powers that she doesn't really have. And to make matters worse, this year, Prince Kai, the enforcer, the future enforcer, who kills ordinaries, is participating in these trials. And his superpower is to detect other elite superpowers and basically use them as his own. So you see the problem there. So yeah, the story takes off from there. I think I fell in love with yet another fictional man. Kai is everything, and the tension and the banter between Payton and Kai, on point. I'm also a big fan of a good slow burn romance, and this is that. So much tension. Can't wait for book 2 to come out. I gave this book a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Seriously, cannot stop thinking about the characters ever since I put the book down. So yeah, those are the 8 books I read in November and my 1 DNF. Let me know in the comments which books you read this month, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. And yeah, I'll see you next month with a new video. Bye!